What are you proud of, but can't tell anyone who knows you? Please like, subscribe and comment so I can create more videos for you. When I was 15, I would browse Omegle because I was a horny little fuck. One day I met a girl who was my age. We talked for a while, we role-played, and then we traded images. We then spent the next few days talking and occasionally doing the other stuff as well. After we had been talking for 4 months, we thought we loved each other. We always had each other's backs, and we always talked and helped each other. We wanted nothing more than to meet up and all that jazz. Eventually we cooled off talking for a bit. Then about 2 months later, she started to tell me about her depression. She talked about how she wasn't feeling herself, how she was feeling lost and depressed all the time. Then one day in January of my sophomore year, she texted me during school. It was something along the lines of, I want you to know that no matter what happens, I love you and I want to thank you for being a big part of my life. I left health class and immediately went to the bathroom and began texting her telling her she was loved and she couldn't go like this. Thank God for the hours of browsing memes on Imgur at the time, because I remembered they said don't try to help. Best thing to do is to call a professional. This will only make this longer, but this advice saved her life. My brother had to do the same thing with a friend he knew IRL, and he said he was hesitant to call 911, as it felt like he was betraying his friend. His English teacher had told his class that calling 911 will be hard to do, and it'll feel like betrayal, but it has to be done. I remember my brother telling me that, and acted. So I just called 911 and told them my friend was about to commit suicide, and told them the town she lived in. They directed me to the police department of where she lived, and I talked to them and told them her name and that she was in high school. I came out of the bathroom and went back to my health class after an hour of calling the police and trying to keep her in contact with me. When I got back I was directed by my health teacher to the counselors because I was crying. The counselor called her school and told them what was going on and asked to be updated. About a week later she texted me telling me that she was doing okay. They took her to hospital and got her medicine and a shrink. She said she was upset with me initially, but was ultimately glad. And her parents said they were eternally grateful. A month later she said she was feeling a lot better. It's now almost 2 years later. We don't talk too much, but when we Snapchat she always tells me she's doing great. She recently posted that she's finally finished her sessions for therapy. That's my story. I'll never tell those I know because I don't want to tell people I used to go on Omegle until 3 AM looking for girls. Only me, my counselor, and she know what happens, and truly only the two of us know all the details. I hope this helps someone who finds themselves in this situation. Sorry for the literal wall of text. TLDR. Saved a girl I knew through Omegle from committing suicide by calling 911. If you ever are in that situation, you will almost certainly worry about calling 911 because it will seem like betrayal or you think you can just talk them down. Maybe call 911. Do it. It works. Edit. This is pretty late at this point, but I'm glad I got the message across. If anyone wants to chat, just message me. I use mobile so I should see it right away. Thank you for gold, and all of the beautiful Amazon comments. This was a roller coaster of emotions. Great job. You saved her life. That's amazing. That I wipe my grandma's butt for her. I take care of her full time, and I am really proud of myself for keeping her clean, happy and as healthy as she can be. Part of that entails showering her, and of course, helping her in the bathroom. It's weird to talk about with friends, since nobody really wants to hear about that obviously, but I feel proud of myself for helping her in her time of need. It gives me a weird sense of comfort knowing that my grandma doesn't have a dirty butt lol. I walked in June 2013 for my bachelor's graduation. I was just 2 units shy of actually obtaining the degree. I told all my friends and family I graduated. Right at that time my mom got sick and I moved her out to me and took care of her the last 2 years of her life. I never went back to finish those 2 units. I enrolled this past September and just completed all the coursework for my degree. I now just have to submit my graduation application and I will have that piece of paper. I'm 33 and have been working towards it for 10 years now. Edit. This is my first ever top comment. Thanks for all the support. I am 51 and my husband and I are having great sex. Maybe the best in our marriage. Most of my friends have stopped themselves or their partner has stopped. I can't fathom it. We work at it and it is like going out to play tennis or something. And yeah, no one wants to hear this. Use it or lose it. I've always been curious about that. How is it to grow with someone in that way? Did you guys get bored at one point and stop before deciding to really try? Do you now just try a bunch of crazy stuff and really let loose? Would you say this sex is better than sex you had in your 20s? Everyone always told me to get a job I loved and that would be all that matters. I work in a sex shop and I love it. However, I can't tell my family besides my grandmother or they'll have a cow. Doesn't really account for shit, but I haven't smoked in 2 days, which is not bad considering I was at a pack and a half a day for 15 years. Edit. Thanks guys. I'm making a real go at this. Edit 2. Pack and a half a day. Jesus you guys. Why would I care about quitting if I smoked a pack and a half over 15 years? Edit 3. Wow, this took off way more than I expected. Thank you so much for the kind words guys. Yes, I am vaping. It's 0mg juice but it's really helping with the oral fixation. Also using Champix and the Vivid Dreams are fucking awesome for your information for anyone considering it. Haven't had any of the adverse effects from it but we're only on our 3rd week of the pills and just hit the cold turkey of nicotine point a few days ago. GF is doing it as well. Just wanted to share 3 things that helped me when I quit 9 years ago. 1. Get an airtight jar and dump an ashtray in it. When you are really struggling and want to smoke, open jar, insert notes, inhale deeply. 2. Think of how bad those last 2 days were. Now think about how awesome it is that you are done with them. If you break and smoke again you simply have to go through those 2 days again. 3. Straws. Everywhere straws. Go take a handful of straws from any fast food joint and cut them to cigarette length pieces. I had a stash in my car, on my nightstand, by the couch, on my desk, everywhere. When the urge hits, grab one and smoke it. Lets your body go through the big inhaling cycle that it's used to and gives your fingers something to play with. Good luck. I just bought an engagement ring for my girlfriend. I'll be asking her later this month. Edit. I just asked her tonight and she said yes. Thank you for all your support. Instantly checked to see if username was long-term BF's username. Curses. Foiled again. Recently kicked as an axe addiction no one in my life knew I had. That was hard. Today marks the first day of my road to recovery. It's my first 24 hours with no alcohol and I can't even remember how long. Very few people knew the extent of my drinking, so while I'd love to share it with everyone because I'm extremely proud, I can't really tell anyone close to me. I've lost 35 pounds so far. I still want to lose another 15-20, but I'm no longer overweight and my self-confidence is through the roof. Of course I still have to pretend it was unintentional and that I haven't lost as much as I really have, since my parents think that any sort of caloric restriction is anorexia nervosa. That's exactly how my parents are. They drive through McDonald's every single day, and when I decide to skip out on it and make myself a sandwich at home, they freak out at me. My dad is diabetic, but he is trying to do better. So he doesn't seem to mind so much when I don't want to eat fast food all the time. He gets that it's bad for both of us, but he feels like it's too late for him to change his shitty eating habits. Lately, he's been better about not caring that I don't eat like him. My mom, on the other hand, cares very much that I don't eat like her. She has struggled with her body image pretty much her whole life, despite being real fit and thin until she got pregnant with me. So whenever I tell her I don't want to eat fast food in favor of waiting and eating something healthier, she assumes I'm not going to eat anything at all. Then she'll claim that she's going to watch me to make sure I'm not throwing up what I eat. I have never struggled with anorexia in my life, so I don't know where that's coming from. And I tell her I don't like it when she insinuates that I'm mentally and physically unstable. She just sort of shrugs it off and says that she'll be watching me anyways. But I'm really happy that you managed to start your road to a healthier lifestyle with them breathing down your neck like that. Maybe there's hope for me, too. I ran for 30 minutes on a treadmill yesterday. Can't run on asphalt because my joints are shit. I can't tell anyone because it's not really a monumental achievement. I care. Earlier today I called up a local gym out of the blue and signed up for tonight's Zumba class. I've spent all afternoon jittery and wondering if I should call to cancel. I have no good excuses, but I know that if I had one, I'd be using it to avoid something that I knew was a good idea. Anyway, you clearly feel good that you spent those 30 minutes on the treadmill. You reminded me that I'm really going to appreciate this class once I finish it. Thanks to you, I've made up my mind. I'm totally going. Mine is small in the grand scheme of things. Even in the small scheme of things, it's not big either. I have told people of the event, but not why I was proud of myself for it, because I found it embarrassing. Years ago I was walking home from my university at about 11ish at night listening to music, and I thought I heard a noise in the massive park beside me during a lull in the song. When I turned off my music I could hear crying and muffled screams. Now I've always thought it helped someone in need, but was never sure if I was all talk and just a coward at heart, as I have always doubted myself. Well, once my mind took its time to understand the implications, I vaulted the fence and beelined for the noise. When she came into view I saw a figure behind her. I hit it with such a force I tore through a massive bunch of shrubs and uprooted them. Turns out it was just a jacket she had got stuck, but haha. I got up, helped her up and recovered her jacket. Turned out she got into an argument with someone, ran away from them and had got lost and had fallen. So overall nothing as serious as what my mind thought at the time. I walked her to an address she gave me, contacted the police and went home. It's a small thing, but it let me know I will run to a person's aid. I am not a completely terrible person. Hey man, that's awesome. Good on you. A lot of people probably would have ignored that situation. I guess you never know until it happens. The thought of you steamrolling that jacket is pretty hilarious though. She must have been surprised. Beating anorexia and gaining weight recently. I'm so proud of myself, but I can't tell others cause they didn't know I had anorexia. It was my battle and I won. P.S. Thank you for the support and your kind messages. I have to point out that the reason why others didn't really think I had any food disorder is because 1, I had to travel abroad and met new people while I'm already skinny. 2, I was doing great until about 8 years ago. I had breast cancer. The trauma and going through the surgery and all, losing my weight and hair affected my body image deeply. Over the years, people got used to the new skinny me. I struggled hard. I needed support, but I chose to do this alone because there's a feeling of guilt, shame that goes with this, and I thought it was none of anyone's business. It was personal. People don't get it when I tell them I'm proud of gaining 10 pounds when I'm already a tiny stick. They don't really know that I desperately needed every single pound, and could stand to gain more weight, and that eating enough to maintain that weight has been challenging. All the power to ya. Slight exception, since a few people close to me know this story, but it's not exactly something you share at the dinner table. I guess I'm proud that I was able to help this woman find some peace about the situation though. A girl I followed on Tumblr wrote a suicide note. After a short moral dilemma, I attempted to dox her to her mother, but she did not respond. Long story short, some other followers managed to get the police involved, but she assured everyone that she was just venting and being dramatic online, and the matter was dropped. She committed suicide the next day. I sent flowers to the funeral, very far away, with an anonymous note. Months later, her mother responded to my attempted dox and ended up asking me a lot of questions about this girl with whom I'd only had small online interactions with. Why she'd do this and did people encourage her were the questions at the forefront, and I spent 2 hours at work messaging back and forth with her, telling her all I knew. At the end she thanked me and wrote that she would never wish this on anyone and begged anyone considering suicide to reconsider. So I doubled down on her request now. Don't let an internet stranger explain to your family why you're gone. Edit. Not that it makes any difference, because the end result was still the same, but I did not dox her. I attempted to dox after several communication attempts with her were ignored. I simply sent her mom a FB message, "Are you girl's name S mom?" She didn't reply until later, whether because she hadn't seen it, or had ignored it at the time I'm not sure. There also seems to be some debate whether doxing was the right course of action. As stated, some were apparently successful, or if this just exacerbated the situation. Truthfully, I have no idea. Based on what I know, she was set on this course of action from the moment she wrote that note. The doxing just delayed the inevitable. However, the point of the story wasn't that I was proud of how my attempts to talk to her, it was my handling the aftermath with a mother who was heartbroken and confused. The rest of the story was just how I came to be involved. Over-intrusive? Maybe. But I don't regret trying. I posted this here not for karmic rewards, because as cool as Reddit goldies, it's ultimately irrelevant, but because I've had people far closer to me commit suicide as well, and I wanted to remind everyone that people will miss you in ways you can't even begin to know. This is a little ironic because I was coming here to say I'm proud I haven't killed myself yet. Something I struggle with every day but definitely can't tell people about being proud of that fact. I was on blah therapy a few months back. I was the listener and this kid was my venter. He was 14, living in England I think. His mom was on vacation and she had left him with his uncle, but his uncle touched him inappropriately. He wasn't sure what to do, but with some encouragement I got him to call his mother and she was a good mom so she came home immediately and had him continue staying with the friend he was with. He seemed kind of shaken up, completely understandably, so I stayed with him until 3 AM my time. Edit. All of your kind words warm my heart. I read them all. And thank you for the gold. What's blah therapy? I'm guessing a site to meet random people and discuss issues. I'm learning to become a great advocate for my kids' medical and educational needs. It seems like it should be easy as a parent sticking up for your kids, but in reality when someone with authority says, "I know what's best," they're fine or they're getting the best we have. It's hard to say you're wrong. My daughter suffered with terrible eczema for almost 2 years because her first pediatrician kept telling us it was normal for babies to have it. We were on Medicaid, it was our first kid, and we didn't know how to argue. Turns out she was allergic to litany of foods. Easy fix once we knew. Now she has behavioral issues in school. If we, but especially myself, hadn't learned to be strong she never would have gotten the wonderful IEP and specialist team she has now, which has made a world of difference. When my son wasn't talking at 18 months everyone said it's fine. It's normal. I made a fuss, uncomfortable as it was, and it turned out he wasn't hearing squat because he needed tubes. Now he's 2.5 and speaking full sentences daily. I grew up watching authority figures walk all over my mom. I let it happen to me most of my life. I'm really proud to be improving on that, especially for my kids. My sister has ran into similar issues with pediatricians and child care providers. Good job on sticking up for your kids. That I've managed to keep my job, despite having no idea what I'm doing. Everyone just assumes that I must be really good at it, because when they ask how it's going I always just say it's fine, everything's good, when in reality I'm surprised I haven't been fired yet. I'm proud of a YouTube video I made a few weeks ago. It got a fair few upvotes here on Reddit, and I have been wanting to make this video for a while. I can't show it to people who know me because it's kind of stupid. It's a 10-minute video where I explain a Back to the Future fan theory I came up with. The reason I can't show it to family or co-workers is that they are all serious people and think I am too. They don't know about Reddit or my YouTube channel. It's not even that good of a video. It's just silly and over the top. I'm just proud of it because I have wanted to make it for years. Edit. I woke up this morning to hundreds of messages. This is heavy. I never thought it was going to blow up like this. I'm so glad you're all enjoying the video. The response has been overwhelmingly positive. As a thank you to all the Redditors who have been liking, subscribing, and sharing, here are some pics I think you might enjoy. Imgur webpage, from my honeymoon. I'm going to keep working on my next video now. Edit 2. If you've come back in time and stumbled across this post, I have started a subreddit for our channel. R2 writes, Edit 3. If you've come back to find if I made another video, I have. Enjoy. Scrooged, Christmas and Cynicism, Yowta webpage. I've been wanting to make a YouTube channel for years, and I have so many ideas. I have been watching many tutorials about what makes a good video, but still worried about my family to find out. They are not anti-internet or whatever, they just would make fun of me and talk about it, and I am not mentally ready to deal with that. I played Neopets for way too long and I eventually traded my way to the UC Grey Calgra with a RARN I created during a purge a few years ago. I was so happy that I was crying, similar to what I was doing when I managed to create some epic purge names, and my roommate asked if I was okay. I couldn't manage to tell her why I was so happy. If it makes you feel better, I was a top-notch Neopets cheater and made over a few thousand US off the game when I was in high school. Not only did I make $, I also could get almost anything I wanted in-game. From NPs to items to pets. Really? And NBSP? Nope, not more than 5 people know this. And NBSP, Burner said it, the dung scarab Feather Ali has is illegit and originates from me. Though she might not know it. I'm a 31-year-old straight male and I can deep throat the fuck out of a banana. Like a whole banana. I'd like to brag but like, nah. I'm really proud that I keep going. That I keep finding small, insignificant reasons to keep pushing through. Who would feed the dog? No one can cover my shift this weekend. My gaming buddy would never know what happened to me. It's too close to the holidays. It would ruin it for everyone. My best friend is reeling up on her luck lately. I can't tear her down. And it's hard. Every day feels worse and nothing is working. Everything keeps falling apart. And everyone expects me to be this happy-go-lucky person, and how do you explain to them that you can't anymore? I feel like the biggest burden. But I am proud that even through everything I can still have hope that it will get better. I can at least be proud of that. Edit. I am truly touched, and would like to express my gratitude. Not only have the comments reached me in such a positive way, but to also be gifted gold means an unfathomable amount. I am grateful for you, and all the others who have reached out to me, both publicly and privately or just in thought. It is difficult to share these demons in real life, but knowing all of you exist out there, cheering on for a complete stranger, makes up for all the times I wanted to say something but could not. I have been moved to tears countless times today with all of your wonderful words. So thank you all for your hearts, your positivity, and your help. I have several new reasons to get me through the days. All my love. I wrote a very long comment to your post about 5 times, but it got sappy and shit, so to cut it simply, I understand. I do the exact same thing. I don't know where I'd be right now if I hadn't adopted my cat when I did. I promised her I'd take care of her. I think honestly it's the little things. It's always been about the little things. Because once you look back, all those little things you accomplished, all those little things you did for others, all those little things you did to be good, become your big life. And there's nothing wrong with that. So keep on going, internet stranger. You can do it. Edit. I told myself I'd never do this. Edit after I post, but thank you for the gold. I never imagined a short little thing I type could move people. I'm proud that this is my highest upvoted comment. It's funny, you know. Just one little message. Today I had the old double stream pee and didn't get a single drop outside the bowl. I went to an Overeaters Anonymous meeting last night. My first one, actually. I was out for a drive trying to keep myself from binging when it occurred to me to see if there was a meeting that I could attend. I pulled over, looked it up, and there was one about 20 miles away. I'd be 10 minutes late but I decided to go anyways. I got there only 5 minutes late but stood around the corner from the meeting room for 15 minutes before I got the courage to walk in. I sat on a couch next to a gentleman old enough to be my grandfather, and I was the youngest one in there by a couple of decades. I didn't speak except to say my name when the leader asked, and I kept welling up with tears and breaking down. I think it was so overwhelming to just be there, to have taken that first step. And it was unbelievable to me to hear stories of others who have a similar relationship with food. I've applied to the police academy of my nearby big city and have already passed the written test and the oral interview. I didn't think it was likely that I'd pass either one, especially the oral interview. But I did. And I'm scheduled to take the physical test in less than 3 months. And I want so badly to be in law enforcement. My eating habits are keeping me from my dream. So I went to my first OA meeting last night, and it was harder than walking into that written test or the oral interview. Much scarier. But I fucking did it. I'm so happy I did. I love this. I love that you are working to stop your habits, and that you are chasing your dream. Congrats on nailing those interviews. I wish you sincerely some great success on achieving the physical test. Best of luck doesn't seem appropriate here, so hard work. My D&D campaign. My family don't really care. It's not their fault. They just don't understand anything about it. I've just started a new job and I don't think I'm ready to drop that nerd bomb on them. And everyone else in my life are my friends and my fiance, and they are my players. I just want to discuss it with someone. In case you're not aware, somehow, I'm not gonna creep your history to find out, or for anyone who happens to visit this thread. Our D&D, our DM Academy, ardent behind the screen, our unearthed arcana. I've been in a really bad place since I moved to grad school. My ex-boyfriend broke up with me just before I moved here, and I haven't really had a high self-worth since. So I've been crying a lot and have had some low-key suicidal thoughts. A few of my friends know and they're here for me, but my family has no idea that I'm not completely happy. Anyway, I made an appointment to meet with a therapist. I'm finally trying to get help. And I'm really proud of myself for that. A story my therapist told me was, him. You know who Michael Phelps is? Me. Yeah, the fastest swimmer on the planet. Him. Does he have a coach? Me. I assume he does. Him. Well, he does. And why does the fastest swimmer in the world need a coach? Me. I don't know. To get faster. Him. Right. Why would the fastest person in the world, who no one can swim better than, need a coach? Me. I don't know. Seems like he's fast enough. Him. He needs a coach, because even though he's so good, there's still room for improvement and ways to get better. So if Michael Phelps needs a swimming coach, and he's the fastest swimmer in the world, why wouldn't you need a therapist? Me. Because. Him. Because no matter how good you are at life, you could probably still need a coach helping you to be even better. There is absolutely nothing wrong with getting help. Good luck to you. Edit. Formatting. I have a complete collection of Lord of the Rings Hobbit Lego minifigures. My Marvel Lego collection is nearly complete, save for a couple of minifigs that I just don't like. And my Star Wars collection is complete for the last 5-6 years. The only people that know this are my wife, kids and brother. I have not and will not at any point inform my wife how much the collections are worth. Edit. Pick off some of them in the web page. Edit again. The minifigs alone could be worth anywhere between $2,000 minus $3,500, I'd guess. The problem is that I've bought almost all of them since my son was born like 8 years ago. So, I don't really have the really rare figures. I'd guess that value comes from the sheer amount of them in one place. You also have to realize that I bought nearly all the sets that these minifigs came with. I have a room in my house, literally covered in Star Wars sets. I play hockey locally. Am not a typical rough and gruff guy, but not overly geeky. People are always surprised I have massive Lego collection and used to have massive video game collection. Like I sold some video games and paid for a vacation to San Diego, paid off my car, paid to move, and more type video game collection. And my Lego collection is bordering on I need a second room to house the loose bricks size. Yet I play hockey, fish, woodwork, enjoy rodeo, and more. Sometimes, You just keep some things under wraps and only let it out if directly questioned. My Lego trains are going to be installed around the ceiling of the room soon. Fuck it, I'll say it. I attempted suicide by trying to jump in front of a van. The instant I put my foot up front, my mind just switched to autopilot and I just jumped out of the way. I was in shock for a couple of days on the fact that I did attempt suicide. But now I am feeling better. Life's weird, man. That I keep a lot of other people's secrets and don't say shit. I'd rather those people handle their business than come to me about it, but I guess they know I can be trusted. I actually like it when people tell me their secrets cause it makes me feel that I am trusted too, but if I don't think it should be a secret, I normally advise them not to tell it to me more about it. I haven't done heroin in 6 months. People around me think that I don't even smoke weed. This will probably get buried, but anyways, I'm not particularly good with girls and I moved to a new city earlier this year where my friend introduced me to a girl. We hit it off and started dating. Well, due to my aforementioned lack of skills with girls combined with going to a military academy and then a job that traveled all the time, it had been around 7 years since I had had a relationship. A few flings here and there but no relationships, and to be honest I was starting to feel like I was never going to meet anyone and end up alone. I was terrified of being that weird uncle to all my friends' kids that dies alone. Well, the relationship just didn't work. We had fundamental incompatibilities and I wasn't happy. She on the other hand was completely into me and probably would have married me after dating for only a few months had I asked. I ended the relationship. I'm really proud of myself for refusing to settle for a crappy relationship, despite wanting someone in my life being one of my biggest desires right now. It wouldn't have been fair to myself, and more importantly it wouldn't have been fair to her to simply stay in the relationship waiting for something better to come along. Edit. Typos. Typing on a phone is hard. Girlfriend and I finished at the same time the other night. Don't feel like anyone I know is interested, but I'm pretty excited about it. That's amazing. I could never imagine that happening with me and my girlfriend. I eat so much faster than her. By the time I'm finished she usually is about halfway through her meal. I have exercised 3,450 days in a row without skipping. I am 62 years old and I walk 3-4 miles a day, or work with my trainer, or lift weights. I love to be active and I think it keeps me healthy. I have a patient who herniated a disc in his back and is a blacksmith. He has insurance so I have to take it, but he has a copay and his wife works but they now have debt from a failed surgery for his condition. He couldn't afford the copay so I went to the gallery where he makes wrought iron art and bought it all so he can afford his copay and to keep his house. I'm sure you're all thinking why not do it pro bono? The insurance world in my state country does not look kindly on not charging copays or denying someone insurance benefits when they pay it. I couldn't find any other way to help this guy without it being enticement to come in for treatment, and it was more to keep the stress off of a house payment during the Christmas season. So I paid more for his art than his insurance will ever pay me in hopes that he can keep his house and continue treatment. Either way, I did a good deed, but I can't even tell my wife because I'm not sure she'll be impressed by the sheer amount of money I spent on wrought iron candle holders and lamps that are hidden away in my office. A few things. I really enjoy helping people with computer stuff online. I'm a regular on a certain sub's daily questions thread and proud of being able to help. Can't tell anyone in real life because I'd become their go-to tech support, and frankly, they don't treat me as well as the internet strangers I help. I started doing video game streaming earlier this year. I only really stream one game once per day, anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour or so typically. I started a YouTube channel to back up all my streams. Twitch exports Yadart. I have next to no followers or subscribers. I forget about followers. 4 subs on YouTube, one of which is my brother, so no reason to be proud there. The real reason I'm so proud of myself is for sticking to it despite my horrible stage fright. Being in front of that camera every day is terrifying. The possibility that any number of people could see me do something stupid or make a mistake is terrifying. But that's really why I do it. Not just to see if it's fun like I told everyone. I wanted to force myself to face my fears every day, and I've done it, and am still doing it. See you tonight, Twitch start. Quick edit with the obligatory OMG. This blow up message here. I appreciate all of you posting that you're watching my videos, subbing to my channel. Please don't feel like you have to subscribe or anything just because you saw this post though. I completely get that my videos won't be entertaining for everyone, probably not most people. P. Edit 2. I have 3942, oh god. Help 5075 and read emails from Twitch. All new follower notifications. Thanks to you guys. Megastan will be pleased for all of you to watch me inevitably fail during tonight's stream. I too am proud of my 2 subscribers on YouTube. I don't want to be big and famous. It's a hobby for video making. But if it can give somebody some enjoyment, that's awesome. Man, there's a lot of heavy, serious answers on here. I was just gonna talk about how I can push my balls up in my stomach and push them back into my sack. Cutting ties with my emotionally manipulative and occasionally violent narcissistic father. Can't talk about it with close family, because my mother is still choosing to live with him, and most family members cannot understand that someone can be so toxic with bursts of violence that you can do nothing but completely sever contact. Can't talk about it with friends, because they either take the "but it's your family" stance, or they feel like I'm trying to throw a pity party for myself when I talk about my childhood. And I'm not much of a Reddit poster, although I do lurk on said narcissists. You're taking care of yourself, and that's immensely important. Your well-being and health and sanity are important. Just because you're related to them doesn't mean you have to love them, tolerate them, or interact with them. All it means is that you have some legal and or genetic tie to them. I'm proud of you for doing what you need to. 3. I still collect UGR cards totaling over 750 of the most powerful and rare cards. I estimate the collection to be upwards of $5,000. But I am a collector, and collecting them is my passion. Definitely something that gets the ladies wet. If it doesn't work out with the ladies, I have a straight male cousin who'll definitely get wet over that. 21 months clean in a week. But no one knew I was using, so can't share this. Edit. Thanks so much. I rarely log into this account, but your comment made me so happy. Good going. D. I'm proud of you too, and know you can do this. Have your determination and keep going. Awesome person. I have recently learned how to make pretty darn good cannabis butter, and have a decent second income from making medibles. This grandma bakes great cookies that no one I know can sample. Haven't injected in 3 days. Fighting the good fight that no one knows I'm fighting. I had 5 miscarriages last year. I am pregnant again, but this one is showing a heartbeat. My other pregnancies didn't. But I'm only 9 weeks along. But I am proud I didn't give up. A heartbeat. 3. You must be so thrilled. I really hope it works out for you. My mom was the same way. Countless miscarriages, and then she had me. 3 months too soon, and then more miscarriages. Hang in there, baby. And mom too. I haven't been redditing much lately, but some of you might still recognize my username from talking about my sister's suicide. Yesterday I hit 60. No, not 60 years old. The 60th person on Reddit to PM me or reply to me letting me know that something I've shared has stopped them from considering suicide. It's a touchy subject, so it's awkward at best in real life. I'd really prefer those I know I will not know my username. Finally, I don't want to come off as a braggart. Though I think this may be the most significant thing I've done with my life, I don't know how to discuss it without seeming like I'm bragging. Quite the opposite, I am profoundly humbled by it. Now, to be clear, I don't think that I've actually stopped 60 people. I'm sure some had idle ideation and never would have done it. I'm sure some would have tried once or twice but fail and change their minds without me. As much as it hurts me, I'm sure some meant it at the time they messaged me but have since changed their minds. But equally I'm sure that it's very likely one or more people is alive today because of something I wrote. If even one is alive, both my writing and sharing have been justified 1,000 times over. I cannot tell you how much that means to me after having gone through the pain of my sister's death to know I might have spared others similar pain. Even if you just saved one person's life, then you've done a great service. Thank you. That I haven't smoked anything in 15 days. I've quit cigarettes for 2 months earlier this year, but relapsed. This time, I've quit everything for good, although I couldn't tell my family that I've smoked anything other than cigarettes. My co-workers are mostly smokers and my roommates are stoners. So even thought I didn't get any encouragement. I feel proud of myself, that I could do it, for me. Edit. Thank you for your kind words and advice everyone, it really means a lot to me. For people who want to quit tobacco, I would suggest reading Getting the audiobook of Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Smoking. It has done miracles with my mind and I have honestly found easy to get rid of the addiction. I smoked a pack a day and quit without any stress at all, instead, feeling happy. Everyone can do it, you can too. If anyone needs advice, feel free to PM me, I will gladly share what I know. Or, better yet, visit our Stop Smoking Reddit webpage. It's a wonderful community which has helped me a great deal. That I stopped smoking so much weed. But everyone I know had no idea how much weed I was smoking. Also, I am proud of how well I can fit in while baked as a Thanksgiving potato. But of course I can't really be bragging about that to my friends and family. Sometimes I really nail my makeup game that day or I put together an outfit that makes me look super cute, but I can't show off to anyone I know because I'm a guy in my real life. I wake up at 5 every morning, weekday and weekend. I shower, get myself ready, make my kids a complete breakfast including all of the food groups, wake them up, make myself a green smoothie, prepare my water for the day, 80 ounces, take my vitamins, and we go about our day. I can't tell anyone because I'm an asshole for thinking that I'm adulting better than them. TLDR, I'm adulting and no one cares. I wake up 15 minutes before I have to leave for work. I scramble around like a drunken blind mole to shower, dress, pack lunch and grab breakfast in that time. Someday I hope to be like you, minus the green smoothie, not for me, thanks. I journal to myself a lot and write personal stories relating to my life. I like them but wouldn't share them to anyone I know. I started growing marijuana plants so that my uncle with Alzheimer and Parkinson could start doing everyday tasks like holding a cup of water or even to take a shower. I created a porn montage a few years ago which has over 1 million views combined across YouPorn, Pornhub, and RedTube and is one of the highest rated videos in the funner category on YouPorn. I made it to show off my fetish and do something creative with the massive amount of porn I've collected. It wasn't until I made this video that people on Reddit started taking my rubber ducky fetish seriously. Here's a link, NSFW, to it on Pornhub webpage. Is it actually a fetish for you, and if so what could have possibly prompted you to make Rubber Ducky sung by Ernie the background music? Is it really so deeply ingrained? I don't mean to be demeaning, I've just never seen anything like that before. It's been a year since the last time I cut myself, as of a few days ago. I have massive keloid scar on my left arm from the last time I did it. Anyone who meets me can see it, but I try not to think about that too much. I left a shitty relationship that caused me to break the 2 years I had clean before then. I'm still building back up to those 2 years, but I'm in a very solid place now and I'm really proud of that. My mate stupidly took a load of LSD and ended up getting arrested at our house. Whilst he was being detained and escorted to hospital, the police took his phone as evidence, with all of the details of people who had taken it with him etc. But he asked me to charge it before they took it, so I took it upstairs and drowned the phone in the sink. No evidence against anyone, and the police had to let him go because they couldn't prove he wasn't spiked. No one knows, but fairly proud of the quick thinking. Update. There are quite a few more funny details to the story involving what my friend actually did, but it wasn't really relevant to the question. If people wanna hear more, just let me know. Edit. Never use your real name on Reddit. I've been recognized. Abort. So many things. I don't have much time. Maybe I'll come back to it. Surviving my suicide attempt, only my parents know, was the hardest thing to ever do in my life. To tell them, hey, your son is gonna die soon, let's go to hospital, After my suicide attempt, getting my shit together socially, psychologically, physically, mentally, all the other lees. Baking some sweet ass pumpkin muffins for myself just a week ago. Giving a homeless man in Ireland €100. The look on his face was an experience I can't describe. Getting 100k gamma score on my Xbox after about 7 years. After a year of not talking due to stuff, my crush and I finally talking again, and showing signs of affection. Sneaking into the school dance, stealing Joey's Blue Eyes White Dragon in 6th grade cause he was a cunt. Never even played Yu-Gi-Oh! Overcoming my ASD and becoming fully realized. I'm sure this is going to get lost in the wave of comments, but here it goes. When I graduated with a master's in psychology, I got a job at a funded counseling rehab center. It was in a shady neck of town, but I was excited cause I was new to the world and I was going to help people who needed it. So my first few days I meet my, for lack of a better term, Roseanne of a box with a jiggly triple chin. Always hand her hand around a Mountain Dew, and she often talked moving her head like the roach guy from Men in Black, sugar, water. I also met many other workers who completely resented every session they had. There was no morale, and just because your day is done and you're not getting paid you are expected to continue working. I was none too happy. So I did some training, saw how groups were run, individual sessions. I was patient and learned to do what was needed for them. But the whole time I had a gut feeling this place was wrong. Many occasions I saw very unethical treatment for the drug users, drunk drivers, etc. Such as 1 minute late for a group and their program had to restart and inform parole and start paying up again. Another where a client arrived for group and didn't have the money up front to pay for it, so Roseanne Roach threw her hand at him and told him to head back to parole and get himself restarted in the program. After a few sessions one-on-one I was really heartbroken over all this. I didn't want this world of mental health to be this depressing and this money hungry. But as a few meetings went and I led a few weeks of group, the individuals began to ask me strange questions like, why are you doing this? Are you sure this is for you? Finally, one older man in his mid-50s said, you know, you're better than this. It kind of struck me. I stared at him for a moment and I told him he needed to find another program. Speak with his parole officer and find a different place to continue treatment. I felt bad for saying such a thing at first, but this idea built in my head as I went home at night. The next day I had about 13 individual sessions and I spoke with them all and told them all to get out of this program rehab center. During downtime I looked into histories, and I saw a starting program over and over again, and this meant more money coming in for the establishment, and there literally was no one leaving the program in over 2-3 years. I had a final group session, explained quietly to everyone that I recommend they do leave the program. I see Roseanne Roach the next day, put in my immediate notice. I lied and said a personal emergency came up and I could no longer work. She was none too happy, but I was done. Fast forward about 3 months I was in the mall and one of the women who I had told to leave saw me. I kept looking forward and tried not to acknowledge, trying to maintain some of that ethicalness though. No deal. She got right in front of me and, bluey, smiled hi. Thank you. Her eyes were full and shaky. Her smile bright. She looked much better than she had when I first saw her. I simply smiled and put out my hand to shake hers and send her on her way, but went for a hug and I did a light pat and told her to take care. About a month or so after then my mother called me on the phone and she asked if I remember the place I had worked. I was worried if something came back to get me or just anything. Nope, they got shut down for legality issues and ethical stuff. My mom wasn't the most elegant with words. I didn't believe her, checked out the article, and Roseanne Roach was charged with different accounts and was apparently serving time. Some other manager names that I met as well. So I was pretty proud of all that. Maybe I only helped one person. Maybe I helped a lot. My amazing blowjob skills and sexual performance in general. My parents always fawn over my sister who is a doctor and a triathlete, and I have to stop myself from interrupting and saying things like, I spent an hour and a half sucking a dick last night and made this dude who has never come from a blowjob shoot the biggest load I've ever seen. When I was around 17 I lived in a condo across the river from Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. I could watch shuttle and rocket launches from my living room windows. We usually would have a TV playing the countdown while we watched. I was home alone with a girlfriend at the time and we were having sex on the living room couch with the countdown on. We got ourselves worked up enough to be able to coordinate our orgasms with the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off played over the television, as we both came, watching and hearing the rumble of the space shuttle as it lifted off. It's one of my favorite moments. Had sex with a chick on the beach on a tropical paradise island about a month or two ago. As I was banging her doggy style while looking over the ocean with the supermoon out, I felt like the master of the universe for a little while. Probably the most glorious moment of 2016 for me. I could almost literally hear the word winning in the back of my head. I successfully lie to every person close to me as a defense mechanism. Nobody who knows me actually knows me. They think I'm bubbly and happy and outgoing. Really, I am constantly one bad day away from hanging myself. I drink like a fish, haven't spent an hour sober in the past 2 years and still hold a job up. I'm proud that I can still make people laugh and enjoy my company without dancing around eggshells. I am proud that nobody will feel responsible when I go because I was always happy with them. It feels like you have to get proper help. Have you considered going to a psychologist or something? I don't know where you live, but I am sure you can get help for free as well. I really hope you will be okay. 15,000 followers on my dominatrix blog and active in person. Teach kinky classes, go to dungeons, the whole shebang. Once I wore a dominatrix costume to a Halloween party and everybody laughed because there's no way you could ever do that. You're too innocent. My power went out this morning and came back on right after I farted while taking a dump. A place I used to work a few years ago had a break room with a TV that was always under the control of an old lady that only watched the Hallmark channel. One day I was in there alone and just for fun I checked to see if I could block the channel. Turns out they didn't set a password for the TV yet, so I set one up and blocked the shit out of that channel. It was like the Inquisition for the next 2 weeks. She grilled every single person that came in and eventually she got so mad that she demanded that they buy a new TV, which they didn't. To this day I'm the only one that knows the password and nothing makes me happier than thinking of her angry dumb face. I can hold my erect penis with both hands at the same time, with a little left over. I'm proud of the fact that I've not considered leaving my wife or cheating on her even though we haven't had sex since we got married in 2012. I make some bomb-ass satirical comments and posts on Reddit. Lots of people wonder why, because they don't find them funny at all. Honestly, it just makes me laugh. It's a bit loony. I end up cracking up uncontrollably over a post or comment I wrote. I think my favorite was the one AskReddit thread I made. It was something like true intellectuals of Reddit. How do you deal with the low intelligence losers that try to converse with you on a daily basis? I got like 20 replies, but it didn't matter because I responded to all of them with the same message, which was this is an automated message to inform you that you do not possess the minimum link and comment karma to converse with you Manu 123. Sorry. Jesus, I'm fucking laughing just thinking of it. Oh man, that 7-day AskReddit ban was so worth it. Edit. Here's the post in question. Serious, smart people of Reddit, how do you deal with the low intelligence losers that attempt to converse with you on a daily basis? AskReddit webpage. My comment history also has gems. Especially on our metal. I'm proud of some secret squirrel shit I did when I was in the Air Force. Taking it to my grave. In college there was a rainbow-colored, wooden donkey statue in the front yard of a house down the street for me. I egged that donkey hammered at 5:00 am, and despite my fear and drunkenness I only missed the donkey once or twice. I'm usually terrible at coordination throwing things, but I just couldn't miss that night. Egg after egg left my hand and smashed square into the donkey's jaw. My buddy however could miss, and after he accidentally hit the window of the house a few times we had to take off running when we saw blue lights. TLDR, Rainbow Donkey Assassin. I used to work for a company that was mostly old white Christian men. They were very traditional and set in their old ways. Think of Trump supporters but make good money and have big houses, not the trailer park ones. Basically had to bite my tongue all the time working there and had to put up with shit like the whole company praying before company lunches and hearing people talk shit on minorities and women. Long story short, I did not respect my chain of command. I had 4 levels of bosses that all fit the above description. Team lead, controls engineering manager, engineering depth manager, and company president. Over the course of my 3 years at that company and hitting the local bars clubs, I had encountered at least one daughter of each of my bosses and got them to go home with me. They were all the rebellious daughter types that are made from having an overbearing authoritarian father, which means they were all into kinky shit. From then on, when they would say something stupid, in my head I would be reliving boning their slutty daughters. I'm a slut too. I just know it would bother them to know their daughters behaved in that matter and with a bleeding heart liberal, as they would put it. Edit. Worth noting, I have nothing against Christians or traditional people. Just like any group of people, there will always be an annoying overbearing version of said group of people. Fundies from Christians, feminazis from feminism, etc. These particular individuals were just the bad apples from the old school traditional Christian group.